Vitek here from Wani, and with us today we have the majestic, eternal Simone Simons. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. You guys must be super stoked that you have the next vision of Epica, the Holographic Principle, coming out next month via Nuclear Blast. Excited as the band in terms of a new chapter of Epica will be unleashed next month?
Yes, it's very how do you say? It's something we've been waiting for a long time. We know the songs and we want to present it to the fans, and it's like a treasure on which we are sitting, and we can't wait to share with everybody. So we're very excited.
That's good to hear. You guys unleashed Universal Death Squad as the first single, along with obviously the video which came out. So how have the fans received it? I'm sure you guys must have done some sort of research as to see how they are perceiving it.
Well, we did a listening session with like international press early on, and they already got a listen of a selection of songs that were not the ultimate or the final selection for the CD, and we asked them for their opinion, what they thought about the songs, which was their favorite, how did they experience the flow on the record, and one of their favorites was definitely Universal Death Squad, and it was our favorite as well, so it was very clear that was going to be our first single. And after that first listening session, we started like hustling a little bit the songs in order to find out what would be the final track listing. And we all have our favorite songs, of course, and there are songs that are very popular amongst all the band members. So, but with help of our producer, we got to a really kick-ass lineup of the songs.
That's wonderful. It's good to hear. You guys have evolved over the period of time. I remember back in the day when I came across you guys during the Phantom Agony days, and here we are with the Holographic. So it's been more or less like a 15-year-long career. So when you look back at that, what's the first thing that comes to your mind about the progress of the band?
It's been like in between evolution and revolution. Of course, it's been 14 years, but we have been super productive. We've been super motivated. We've started off really young, so we had the time and energy to just tour without making any money, because we didn't have to pay the bills. We were still living with our parents or still studying, and so we had the time to invest in the band Epica, and years after that we could pay our bills and how do you say provide ourselves.
Make it a career.
Yeah. Definitely. It's always been a career for us from the beginning, because we toured so much. We were always in the studio or on tour. But the money kind of came in at a later
part of it. Definitely. That's really good to hear. And obviously with the new album being, I think I spent around 7 to 8 complete round of the album. And I got to say, this is definitely you guys pushing boundaries, reinventing your distinctive style. I mean, you're not one of those symphonic metal bands who churn out albums talking about the fantasy here and there, but you guys deal with technology. You guys are like geeks, let's say, to keep it this way, in terms of how the virtual world is. This is exactly defined on the Holographic Principle. So how do you guys keep track of exploring these new horizons as you guys write your material?
Well, our topics lyrically have always had a deeper meaning. It was never really much about birds and bees and dragons and castles.
Yeah.
Mark and I are both writing the lyrics. He comes up with the red line, the title track, and comes up with the main thought idea behind the CD, and then we divide the songs and we both write half of the lyrics. And in the beginning, it was always very philosophical, spiritual, maybe a little bit more political or religious in the beginning. And after maybe Design Universe, science came in, and technology, and that's kind of taking over the religious part, or the extremities within religions that we also kind of felt inspired by to write about. And we mix it with recent events that are going on within society. And there's always something going on, and for now, of course, it is all the terrorist attacks are becoming.
You guys, have time and time proved again that you are one of the best theme composers when you talk about the album, because it's something to do with how you guys work together. I mean, the layout of the songs, where you got to pick up, where you got to calm down, or where to bring in the new variation. It all seems to be adjusted perfectly. I mean, I can give an example of a slow one like Once Upon a Nightmare, to even faster ones like you talked about Universal Death Squad or even Edge of the Blade. So it seems to be a very well planned structure and architecture of each songs. Maybe that's the reason why almost every second of the album is more delightful.
Yeah, I think that each song has been, first of all, there are 5 composers in the band. All of the guys are writing songs. So we had a huge selection of songs to choose from, and it was 27 songs. And we picked 18 songs, which we recorded, including the intro song. And after that, after all the songs were like finalized to the latest music note, latest layer of instruments, that we then decided, okay, let's see how the CD is gonna take shape. And we had, of course, 2 ballads, and we were fighting on which ballad was going to be in the CD. And we have another ballad which is really beautiful, but it has a very acoustic touch to it. And I think Once Upon a Nightmare is really dark and very orchestral, and it's a perfect counterbalance to all the other musical violence that's going on in the CD. And for this and for the Quantum Enigma, we had kind of a different writing process where all the guys would write their songs in our home studio, and then they would all get together with the producer separately to work on the songs, and then more like the band would come together as a whole. And simultaneously, I would be writing vocal lines with Sasha, Joost, and Mark. And we really finalized the songs and played the songs over and over as a band to see how they would feel when played like really live. In the past, we always would write songs on our computers and then go to the studio and record those songs. We never actually played them because we're not a band that lives all in the same village. I live in the south of Germany. Mark lives in Sicily. Isaac lives in now a little bit closer by, but he lives in Belgium, and the other guys are living scattered over the Netherlands. So it's not like, hey guys, let's have a meeting this Sunday. It doesn't work like that. So
right. That's really good to hear. And also, I've also heard, like the dancing in the Hurricane has those real the strings, and I don't know, it's the percussions that have been used. So it looks like on this album, many real instruments were used as opposed to, let's say, something being virtually written on an instrument or on a system. So you guys have used ethnic instruments like brass, strings, etc., real time, which makes it sound more organic, more alive. So what triggered this change to get into the real instruments rather than the virtual ones?
Well, the fact that we had the budget to do it, the time and the expertise. Samples are great, even though they sound very realistic. It's easy to use, it's cheap, but we still wanted to add that extra touch of, the fact that real humans played those instruments, that they weren't programmed. That you can hear the little details of when, they're, how do you say, when they're playing the clarinet, you can hear the fingers touching, and the breathing and all that stuff, and Joost has been working with orchestras in the past that work with click track. So it was kind of a wish of ours to include more real instruments. And the guys, they scheduled a percussion day where everybody that was kind of welcome.
I've seen the videos.
Hit on with everything. And our drum technician Igor, he is the drummer of Heideroosjes. He works for a music shop, so he got a truck and he loaded it with everything he could find, brought it with him to the studio.
Oh, that's wonderful. I've seen the video in that. And also, Simone, I mean, this is the extension of the Quantum Enigma thematically in terms of where it left and where it's going to begin. So you've got into this search for the real, instead of the virtual world we live in. So how is it in your mind, and also in Mark's, since you guys write together, to make sure that the lyrics take a big point? Because Epica songs as well as lyrics have a very deep meaning and both go along well together.
Mark and I, we both kind of naturally are attracted to certain songs. He, of course, writes the lyrics to the songs that he composed musically himself. And I am the one that mostly gets the ballads.
Right.
And we both have a different style of writing lyrics. Like, we use different sentences, different metaphors, and I think that's also a great variety that, you know, we have two lyric writers.
Right, definitely. It changed a lot. And also your voice is picture perfect. I mean, there's nothing that can beat the feeling when you hear such powerful music written, and then on top of that your angelic voice. I mean, I've all time and again, I've seen it, I've heard it. I saw you guys in India. I'm from India, so you guys are here as well. So it's always been that sort of an approach where your vocals have just taken the music to another level. So on this record, was it something different you tried as compared to, let's say, the previous ones?
The biggest thing we did different was also that especially Isaac and Koen, they also wrote vocal lines when they were writing the song, so they already had vocal lines in their head, and we were mixing and matching and seeing if they would also work for my voice. Because when you compose a melody on a keyboard, it's different than when a human has to sing it, especially female and male voices. The range is totally different, or like the range where you can sing comfortably. I can go really deep, but it might sound like I'm trying to imitate a guy. And everybody has this comfort range. So we had to adapt that. And a thing we really were paying attention to was that this time the vocals were very rhythmic, going along with the rhythm of the guitars. And I think that's the biggest change. Overall, I still use all the kind of styles that I am capable of singing. Classic, rock, pop. Operatic, yeah.
That's always good to hear. And it's because, you know, even on last album, you had Vincent in the studio as an inspiration. So was he present this time as well?
No, he was at home. I came back from the Australian tour, couple days at home, and then I had to go to the studio to record my vocals. He's too big to be hanging around in the studio all day, and back then I was breastfeeding, and I couldn't I had to have him with me.
Right, I get
this
that.
This time he goes to daycare and he has his friends, and like that I can work better, and he also has a safe environment.
True.
Because I don't have a lot of time for him, then he would just be hanging around, and I didn't want that. He was there when we did some photo shoots in the studio, but he already didn't like it so much, so it was a good choice to not.
How about you guys taking this on road? I do see you guys heading on tour with Powerwolf sometime early next year, right?
Yes.
But would you be touring US before? I guess you have some dates?
We're going to tour in the US in November together with
The Agonist.
God Apocalypse, Arcona, The Agonist, and I think some dates Xandria is coming, or that's the European tour. I kind of always mix them up, especially at the end of the day. But we have a North American tour and a European tour where we are planning to, present a bigger live show, a really gorgeous light setup. We really want to kind of integrate the holographic ideas, with beautiful lighting shows to kind of take it to the next level.
That's good to hear. And Epic Metal Festival was my first experience of seeing you guys in Eindhoven last year. And this year you're taking it to Brazil, Sao Paulo, as well as in Tilburg. So, what thoughts went behind that this year? Because I see the lineup is different, and it's like, you guys are heading to Brazil as well. So what triggered this thought of moving into a Latin American market?
We wanted to take Epic Metal Fest internationally, and we are doing really well in Latin America. And since we just played in Mexico at the Hell and Heaven Festival, we kind of wanted to start off in Brazil and see how it would go and take it off from there. But we teamed up with a Brazilian promoter as well to help us find bands that are doing well over there. And it's very exciting. I can't wait to be there and to play in Brazil with our own festival. It's amazing.
That's absolutely true. And does it kind of annoy you, Simone, when you're singing on stage and you see your fans with the cell phones, or let's say some of them texting, at shows?
No, I don't think that they're texting. They're probably mainly filming everything, and it's not cool if they're doing it the whole show, because then you're just standing there. It feels like you're doing it for the movie and not for the actual vibe and energy that is created when you do a live show. People are too focused on filming and photographing everything. I think a couple of songs is okay, but if it's from the beginning till the end, it can be a little bit disrespectful towards the musician.
So before we conclude, how about you define the sound of the holographic principle in just one sentence?
Absolutely mind-blowing.
Absolutely mind-blowing. Thanks a lot, Simone. Always a wonderful time having a chat with you.
Oh, thank you very much for your time as well, and have a great day.
Bye-bye, Simone.
Bye-bye.